Welcome back, guys. I'm Zell, and today we're doing my top 5 knives of 2016. We're going to do it kind of Birdshot 4 style. We're going to try to boil it down to my top 3 carried knives and my top 3 hard use knives. And I know you guys are looking for a drinking and thinking on Wednesday, and you can kind of put this in the same category, but I've got so much going on down here in the bunker that, well, right here around me, I've got a drill. Let's see. Not exactly a tape measure, but have a ruler. I've got some clamps over here. I have got just a huge mess down here, so we're doing what we can, and hopefully I'll have things cleaned up again next week so we can get back to the drinking and thinking videos. So let's get started on this. We're going to do some subtracting first and see what we end up with. And I just went through the knives I had available and laid them out here, and we're going to try to work our way down to 5 of them. So we got to take some away to get there. So we're going to take the Essie knives away. You know, they're great knives, but there was just something about them that didn't click with me. I don't know. I really wanted the Zancudo to, and it kind of did. I liked it, but I didn't like the idea of having to be constantly on top of that AUS-8 to sharpen it whenever I had other options available. So we're going to set those to the side. And that brings us down to what? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 16. We still got 18 to go. Oh my God. So, all right, along that same lines, the Delica. That was one that I wanted to just love. And I do love. But once I got some knives that had some better steel in them and got better at sharpening, I realized that VG10 from Spyderco just was not for me. Now that doesn't mean VG10 from other companies isn't good, because I do use some VG10 from Boker that I like, and some VG10 from Kaiser that I like. But I'm not a fan of Spyderco's, and we'll talk about that maybe in a future video, but we're going to move this one to the side. And what else? This little Kaiser. Man, this is a hell of a deal for a knife. If you can still get them, $60, $65 for S35 VN and a little kind of a gentleman's carry knife that is just smooth as it can be. It's a great knife. I think my problem here was it's just such a thin little knife that I never felt comfortable doing the things I do every day with it. And probably it's fine. It just, you know, I have other options available, so it never took with me. You know, and we can stop right here for a moment and kind of talk about that. It's kind of like this. You know, I only have one car and one truck. So whenever I get up in the morning to go to work, I'm going to drive the car because it makes sense, right? If I'm going to the lumberyard to pick up stuff, I'm going to take the truck. If I need to pull a trailer, I'm going to take the truck. If I'm taking a trip, I'm going to take the car. However, if I had a whole garage full of cars, or even if I had just 3 or 4, maybe 5, then whenever I got up in the morning, I would have to decide every morning which vehicle I was going to take. And that's kind of what this is. Whenever you just have a couple of something, you know, they have their specific purposes, and that's what you do. Whenever you have several of them, certain individual items will come to the top as the thing that you want to use. And that's what we're working through here, for me anyhow. And, you know, you guys leave in the comments what your top 3 or 5 hard use or everyday carry knives, what are the ones that rose to the top for you? Or what are the ones that you saw this year that made you stop and think, I got to put a few bucks back every now and then and get me one of those? Anyhow, back to the program. Another one that we can get rid of or put off to the side. We're not getting rid of any of them, but the Kershaw Leak. This is one of my favorite designs ever. But if you've been watching the channel, you know I don't carry them because I tend to knock the tips off of them. This one looks like it's had the tip knocked off too. But That's kind of the thing. It's a great, great knife. Small, easy to carry, but those tips are just very, very delicate. And the sages. We can pull those away. If you watch the Sage versus Manix 2 video, you'll understand why. They're so close to this Manix 2 that it makes the Sage, for me, a hard sell. Now, if I didn't have a Manix 2, this Sage right here, the Sage 3, even though I don't have enough Argyle socks to be carrying this thing every day, it would still be one that I would want to carry. Anyhow, we'll set those aside. And let's see. The ZT, I want to love this thing, and I kind of do. This blade shape is beyond awesome. Whenever you use it, ask Frankie. She's got a couple of these she really likes, and I bet it's because of the blade. That blade is just awesome. But I find myself not carrying it that often. I don't have a reason for it, but I just don't. And let's see here. The Griptilians. Now I've got 3 Griptilians. I've got one sheep's foot, and I've got a small grip in the regular normal drop point blade, and I've got a larger grip in the not drop point blade. And for whatever reason, I just don't carry these either. Now they do get a lot of use around here at the workbench or even over at the desk, but I don't carry them. And I don't have a good reason for it. I just don't, because they're wonderful, wonderful knives. Alright, so moving on along, the Spider Monkey. That's one I was really, really excited about, and it is a great knife. But I just never carry it, and I don't know why. There's a couple of little issues that, I do need to do a full review of this knife and a little quick review, so maybe we'll get into it soon, but I just don't carry it like I should. But it is a wonderful little knife. And what else? We're getting a little closer here, aren't we? What else do we have? I don't know. Alright. This is another one of those knives. This one actually lives on my desk most of the time. You can see there on the blade, this thing gets a lot of use opening boxes and that kind of stuff. And it's probably the best clipping knife I have. And maybe that's why it's at the desk, because I do like to flip this knife. But I don't carry it that often. Beautiful knife though. Alright, so what are we down to? Alright, so let's start making some top 3 and top 2s or something like that. Let's see. This one, the Benchmade 710-1401. Over this past year, this is probably the knife that's been in my pocket more than any other knife. And for good reason. It's reasonably thin. It's got that great Benchmade action. And it was a Benchmade that came to me pretty much perfect. There's no issues with it. So I really like that, and I love those sculpted G10 handles in the black and blue. It's just awesome. That's a KnifeWorks exclusive. I think they still have that one if you go over there. And we'll put one on the other side. This guy, if you've been watching the channel, you know that the Spyderco Manix 2 Lightweight is one of my favorite cutting tools. The only reason it doesn't get carried more often is because of its height here. It's like a pancake. It's a huge knife in your pocket. But it still gets carried some, and if I'm going out to do anything heavy duty where I know I need a great cutting tool, this guy goes with me. Alright, so we've got 2 up there. Probably need to take another one away, and man, this gets harder. I really love this Pico. It really piqued my interest whenever it came out. And it ended up being a beautiful knife. They've done really, really well here. I for whatever reason, I don't carry it that often. That changes. I may carry it more later. But it's just a really nice one, but I just don't carry it that often. And since we're doing most carried, we got to put it to the side. Alright, so we'll put another one up here. This one. The Spyderco Manix, or not Manix, Mantra. That thing is one of my favorites, and I think it will be for a long time. This is everything I wanted in a Delica and then some. It is just a fabulous knife. Now, it's not perfect. It has some issues, but you have to watch the review to see that. But it is one of my favorites, and it gets picked up a lot as I leave the house. All right, so we'll put our second one over here. It's going to be this one. The Buck Marksman is still one of my favorites. It doesn't get carried quite as much anymore because of things in my pocket and needing to have a slightly smaller profile in my pocket. But man, I still love that knife, and it's also one that I trust to go do those big jobs, hack, slash, whatever I need to do with it. So it's kind of in there with the Spyderco, with this Mannix 2 lightweight. If I really know I'm going to be putting a knife to use, quite often it's the one I pick up. So we got 2 left, and we need 1 more over here for most carried. Well, I would like to put the Rad up there, but I can't, because this Rad is going to belong to somebody else next week whenever we do the drawing for the giveaway on this thing. So that's why I didn't carry it. It wasn't because I didn't like it. Once I got these rosewood scales on this thing, I liked it a lot. And I did carry it some. There's some pocket clip wear here. But I kind of backed off because I knew with as much attention as this thing generated that we were going to be giving it away at some point. And I didn't want to be carrying it around and beat it all up. So I kind of shelved it. And since we're doing most carried, I just can't put it in that stack. We'll have to put the Boker over there. And this is a excellent little knife. The Boker Urban Trapper is just a beautiful knife. Brad Zinker designs, and Boker makes 3 or 4 different versions of this now, or maybe more. And Brad Zinker himself makes customs of this, and man, one of these days I'd love to have one of Brad's customs. But anyhow, guys, this is going to be the list. We're going to have the Benchmade 710-1401, the Spyderco Mantra, the Boker Urban Trapper as most carried, and these 2 over here, the Mannix 2 Lightweight from Spyderco and the Buck Marksman as the go-to hard use knives, all for 2016. So down below, let me see your list and share it with everybody so that we can all learn from each other. And the Todd knife and tool knives are coming along. I am getting really close to being done with them. And once I am, we will be running that giveaway, hopefully in the next 2-3 weeks. And so don't forget to subscribe here and subscribe over at Todd Knife and Tool. All that info is down in the description. And don't forget to like and share too. And you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.